Water is essential when exploring the Australian outback. From washing, cooking, cleaning and showering, it is one of those commodities that can literally save your life. But how we go about accessing and storing that water in a four-wheel driving or overlanding situation is always a common debate. Today I'm going to show you a simple solution I came up with that may just suit your water needs. There are so many ways to carry your water supplies when out on the road, whether in your four-wheel drive or your caravan or RV. From simple jerry cans to cartons of disposable water containers and even onboard built-in water tanks to your vehicles, each of these options have their own set of pros and cons. But today we're talking about this. A 12-volt battery-powered water supply system that is completely portable. Whether you are cleaning your gear for repairs, camping a distance from your vehicle, or just want quick and easy access to your water supply when your jerry can is in a hard to reach location in your vehicle, this system will have you covered. This build is 100% portable and sealed, meaning they can be stored inside or outside your vehicle during travel and won't lose and spill your precious water. It really is as simple as plugging in, switching on and pulling that trigger to access pressurized water anywhere, anytime. For about 185 Australian dollars, this sure is an affordable way to access your water storage anywhere in your setup. So let's head back to the shed where I'm going to go through step by step how you can build one of these for yourself at home. So we're back in the shed now, and here are all the parts and the tools that you're going to need to build this yourself at home. Now a quick note, all of these parts here were purchased online, so I'm going to put a link in the description below as to where you can pick up all of these yourself if you do want to build one at home. Now, the first and most obvious thing we're going to need today is a jerry can. So I picked up this 22 litre water jerry can made by ProQuip. It's a great base for this project. Moving along, the next thing we're going to need is a 12-volt submersible water pump. So just quite a basic one here, fairly cheap, and that's going to do the job nicely. One of the things we're going to need are quick connect fittings. So I've chosen this particular one. We're going to go into these a little bit more detail a bit later on in regards to why I chose these ones, but they are a CPC quick connect fitting with barbs on the end. These were purchased from Amazon US, but we'll go into them a little bit in more detail later on in the video. The next thing we're going to need is a battery. So here we have a lithium-ion portable battery pack. It's only a 5,500 milliamp battery, but it's going to do the job and work just well. So opening up the box here, you're going to get a 5.5 to 5.5 mil extension cable, a 240 volt charging cable, and also the battery unit itself. Now you'll be able to see that that battery is quite small and compact. It's nice and light being lithium, and it's also got an on-off switch as well. The only plug on that battery is a 5.5 mil input-output plug, and we'll go into a bit more detail about how we can charge this unit a little bit later on. Moving along, we're also going to need to use a 5.5 mil male jack. So I purchased these here, there's a couple of dollars. They come in a pack of 5, you get the male and the female, but we're only going to be needing one male jack, and we'll be able to install that onto your power cables. We're also going to be using Velcro today to be mounting that battery to the side of the jerry can when it's in use. So I've just got some Velcro strips here with outdoor strength, so it's going to be nice and strong. We're also going to be using these little grommets by Fastronics. Now I did purchase them from Amazon US in company with the quick connect fittings, and this is going to allow us to pass through the cabling from the water pump and still keep a nice tight seal. In addition to that, we're going to need some clear vinyl tubing. Now if you are using this for drinking water, you're going to make sure that is food grade safe. This is a 10 mil diameter tube. We'll be cutting it to length once we start the build. In addition to that, we'll also need a couple of hose clamps here. I've got the 8 to 12 millimeter hose clamps and just a little length of heat shrink as well to make those wires look nice and tidy. Now an optional item here is a 5.5 mil to USB adapter, and this is going to allow us to charge the battery without using 240 volt. The last thing we're going to need for this project is an outlet hose. So here we have a 15 meter coil hose set. We're not going to be using the full 15 meters, we're going to be cutting that down, but it does come with a sprayer as well, and it's going to be perfect for getting the water out of the jerry can. So they are all the parts you're going to need to build this. Now moving on to the tools quickly. We're going to be needing a drill, whether cordless or corded. You may need wire strippers if you are planning on cutting the length down on the water pump. However, that's optional. And we've got some wire cutters there. We've also got a pipe cutter. This is just going to enable us to get a nice clean edge on the vinyl tubing. However, that is optional as well. You're going to need a small screwdriver set, and that's just going to be for the plugs when we do the wiring, a screwdriver, a drill bit. You might need something to heat up the vinyl tubing to get over some of the pumps there, so either a flame or a little torch like this, and a step drill is going to make your life a lot easier for drilling those holes into the jerry can as well. So we've got all the parts, all the tools there. Let's get on to building this up. To start, we need to decide where on the jerry can we want to place our outlet hose and the grommet for the wiring. This will depend on a few things such as where you plan on storing the jerry can, how you plan on using it, and what type of jerry can you are using. Now keep in mind, you will need to be able to tighten the nuts of the interior of the fittings, so our mounts will be close to the filler cap. Now I've decided to mount the outlet hose on the vertical side of the jerry can. This will keep it out of the way and up nice and high. I start by drilling a pilot hole and then expand this out to a larger hole. I then use a step drill to increase the size of the hole to 30 millimeters to accommodate the outlet adapter. I do have to account for a small tab on the fitting that prevents it from twisting around once mounted. This tab is currently preventing the fitting from sitting flush on the surface, but using the side of a file, I'm able to cut out a notch where the tab can sit within. The sitting now sits flush, and using a rounded file, I can clean up the inside edge. Moving on to mounting the Fastronics cable grommet. And I have chosen to mount this on a vertical surface near the handle. This will keep it from being knocked or struck when packed and still allow me to comfortably pick up the can with the handle. I use the same technique here, drilling the pilot hole, expanding this out and then using the step drill. We can see here that the step drill is marked with measurements, and for this hole we are only wanting to go to about 15 millimeters. The angle of this drill makes it somewhat difficult, however using a smaller drill bit we can cut a hole suitable for the grommet. Now drilling this hole to the correct size means that the grommet will screw directly into the plastic for a watertight fit. It's now time to start assembling the pump components. I've already cut the wiring down to a suitable size, however you can also leave it full length and just keep the excess inside the can. We also need to cut the vinyl tubing to a size to allow the pump to sit on the bottom of the can and attach to the inside of our outlet adapter. Now the 10mm diameter tubing is tight over the pump outlet, but just adding a little bit of heat will soften that material and make it easier to slide over and provide a super tight seal. Now I'm confident that this is tight enough and will not be fitting a hose clamp. Now that our pump is ready, we return to the jerry can and remove the grommet. We need to carefully feed the wiring through the hole, not forgetting to add the grommet's interior nut over the inside portion of the wiring. Feed the wiring through the hole and we can tape this down for the time being. Now we move on to feeding the vinyl tube through the outlet hole that we've cut, and just don't forget to fit that interior nut prior to feeding the tube through like I did. Once the tube is fitted, tip the jerry can upside down to have that nut slide towards the fitting and secure and tighten the nut on the back of the outlet fitting. This can be a little bit fiddly and difficult, however I found screwing the outlet while holding the nut still on the inside was the easiest, and when that outlet locks in place you can finish tightening the nut from the inside. You should now have a solid outlet hose connection. Returning to the wiring, we can slip the grommet over the cables and screw this into our previously cut hole. Replace the grommet collar, however don't tighten down just yet. This pump comes with 3 wires, a blue negative, a brown positive and a yellow, which we are not going to be using. I've cut the yellow short and will be leaving it like this. Firstly, place a short piece of heat shrink over the cable and push it to the back. Then insert both of the wire ends into the cavities of the rear of the 5.5mm adapter. These adapters are marked positive and negative, so make sure to take note when fitting this. Once the wires are in, it is as simple as tightening down the grub screws and we are connected. Now pull the heat shrink onto the wiring and seal the connection for a professional looking finish. It's now time to decide where I want to mount my battery. This is going to be different for everyone. However, I've decided to mount it on the side of the can as I still want to be able to access the handle when plugged in. I determine how much wiring we need and push any excess back into the jerry can. Once we have our wiring length sorted, we can then tighten down the grommet collar, which will seal the hole and grip the cable. It's now tight enough to lift up the entire jerry can. Now I've chosen to Velcro the battery to the jerry can for easy removal and charging, but it can be mounted with many options depending on the use. I clean down the battery surface, cut the Velcro strips to length and attach them to the rear of the battery. To line up both pieces accurately, I attach the opposing Velcro side to the battery, clean the mounting area on the jerry can and stick it on. Now the last step in this process is the outlet hose. This again will be cut to personal preference depending on the use, however I've cut it to about 1/3 of the length. I fitted a hose clamp, heated the hose a little and fit the male section of our quick connect fitting. There we have it. We can now fit the battery, attach the hose and the sprayer, and we have a portable wireless 12-volt water pump solution for camp. Let's see how it turned out. There you have it. For $185, this is a very simple, effective and affordable way to access your water anywhere in your setup, anytime. So there's a couple of things I wanted to quickly mention before we finish up. The first one is these quick connect fittings. Now I did touch them at the start of the video and I mentioned that I purchased them on Amazon US, and that is just simply because I could not find them anywhere accessible in Australia. The advantage of these quick connect fittings here is a very compact fitting that goes straight from the quick connect to a barb styled fitting, which fits over the hose that we use on the exterior and also that 10mm diameter hose on the interior. The great advantage of that is obviously it keeps this unit nice and compact and retains that shape of a generic jerry can. If we see here on this prefabricated unit that I've purchased online, as we see it here, the barb fitting on the end, or the garden hose connector, sticks out a fair way further and you're introducing more adapters, more seals and more chances of leaks. Now the second reason I chose to pay a premium for these particular quick connect fittings is a stop valve inside the quick connect itself. On that female side inside the jerry can there, you have a valve that will close once this hose is disconnected, meaning that we can pull this hose off no matter how full this jerry can is, and we have a sealed unit. Nothing's going to get in and no water is going to be coming out when packed in your vehicle. Now if we compare that to the prefabricated unit here with no valve inside that adapter there, when you pull that hose out, your water is just going to start pouring outside of your jerry can when it is full. So even if the jerry can isn't full and it doesn't pour out like that, sloshing around in the back of your car, you can expect it to come up and start coming out of the side of the jerry can as well. This also means that things can get in, which means it's not suitable for storage on the outside of your vehicle. This prefabricated unit here is also a corded unit that plugs into a 12-volt socket on your vehicle when you compare that to the battery unit here. And both of these pumps here have a relatively the same sort of output. Now charging the battery on this unit is super easy. As I mentioned at the start of the video, this battery pack does come with a 240-volt charger, and that is a very simple plug and play into the 5.5mm jack on the side. We can also charge it off the USB though as well, buying that extra cable online for about $5, and you've got a completely portable system that can be charged anywhere from your vehicle. The advantage of having the battery system over the corded system means that you can access that water anywhere, particularly if your camps are bollarded off or barriered off from your vehicle and onboard water tanks just aren't going to do the job. This can be removed from the vehicle, taken to your camp and still used in the same way this one can, but just isolated. There you have it guys, that is my build and my review on this wireless 12-volt water pump. Now keep in mind the parts that I've used here can be interchanged and upgraded. So if you're looking for more pressure, you could potentially upgrade that power of the pump there. And you can also buy this particular battery pack in a size almost double this one here. So if you're looking for a longer run time, then that is also possible as well. Now, all of the links for the products that I used in this video to build this will be in the description below. So if you want to build one for yourself, check out that, jump online and you can buy all the parts that I've used here. I hope you've enjoyed this review, hope you've enjoyed the step-by-step build, and hopefully you'll have the same success building your own. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.